Amala Harinam, Amiyavi Dasaha, Madhav, Navanita Dastada, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yasomati Nandana Rajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana. I'm not coming. His mother calls him. I want to play, I don't want to eat. So that's Krishna. Beautiful bhajan. It's just the pastimes of Krishna and Sri Vrindavan Dham. Om Gyantimirandasya Girajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Paschatya De Satarine Pancha Kalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bebhacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama So today is one of the many occasions where we get to honor, celebrate, and take part in a very intimate pastime of Krishna, and that is known as Sri Ratha yatra. It's a very sacred pastime, and it indicates the highest form of bhakti. What is that indication? That Krishna is now separated from his devotees in Sri Vrindavan Dham, and the devotees are feeling more separation from him than he is feeling from them, though it's mutual. So the longing for being together, that mood of separation really goes deep into the heart and causes ecstatic emotions to arise. So when Krishna had left Vrindavan to take care of his business in different places, because Pravitranaya Sarunam Vinasanaya Saduskritam Dharma Samstarpakadardaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. He mentions in the Bhagavad Gita 3 reasons why he appears in this world. And one of them is secondary, but still he takes care of business, and that is to remove irreligion in the world and at the same time reestablish religious principles, and to kill those who are irreligious and who are propagating irreligion. We know them as demons, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Two classes of living entities, asura and asura, the godly and the ungodly. The demons are always causing trouble. And so Krishna's there, and he has so many things that he wants to do at the same time, but he has to do them all at the same time, and sometimes he has to leave his most cherished Vrindavan, which he finds the greatest amount of happiness and love with his associates, and he goes in different places to eliminate the demons. There was Jarasandha, there was Kamsa, there were so many, Shishupal and Dantarvarka, Kashi, so many demons. Krishna dispatched them all one after another to the abode of Yamaraj. But he was always wanting to go back to Vrindavan. And at one point, in order to give shelter to the devotees in Vrindavan, because he was also concerned that he wasn't in Vrindavan, and when he was there, many demons were also attacking. And Krishna dispatched them personally, but now, not being personally present, he was concerned about the safety of his beloved residents of Vrindavan. So he created Dwarka. And overnight, he arranged for all of them to come to Dwarka so they could be free from the influence of the demons who were attacking Vrindavan. But they still maintained themselves in Vrindavan in their mood of separation, although they were personally present in Sri Dwarkadam. And so at one point, it became too much for Krishna to stay away from Vrindavan. And while he was in Dwarka, of course he was there with his queens. There were 16,108 queens. And Krishna was he was Dwarkadish. He was Dhananjaya. He was in the mood of a king, dressed in lavish clothes and living in palaces. In each one of the palaces, he was personally present along with the queen. When Sri Narada Muni came to see him in Vrindavan, in Dwarka, he went to see him in one palace, and there was Krishna playing with some of the kids. And then he left that palace, went to another palace, and the same Krishna was playing chess with one of his queens. So palace after palace, Narada Muni was seeing Krishna in different palaces doing different things. Not only was he wasn't what we call a mirror expansion of himself. Yogis can do that. Yogis can expand themselves up to 9 times, but it's like the same form as doing same thing in different places. But Krishna can expand himself in different ways, and each form is doing something different. Nobody can do that. That's his special Shakti, or a special position, you might say. And so, when he was there, it became quite overwhelming. He was always thinking of Vrindavan, and he would go to sleep at night, and he would call, Yasoda, 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 Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. He'd be calling out to the residents of Vrindavan, Sridham, Sridham. He was missing, and in his ecstasy of his love for them, even while he was so-called sleeping, he would be calling out. And the residents of Dwarka were wondering, what's so special about the residents of Vrindavan? They wanted to hear about that. So there was only one person who was there during Krishna's earlier pastimes who was now in Dwarka, and that was the mother of Balaram, Rohini. So the queens, many of the principal queens, got around Rohini and said, Rohini, you were there when Krishna was there in Vrindavan, and we don't know anything about the love of the residents of Vrindavan. Can you explain why Krishna was always thinking about the resident? He's not even here with us. He's there. So she said, all right, but if I start speaking about Krishna and he hears, he's going to leave. It's kind of dangerous. You're going to lose him. So they said, well, let's make some plan so Krishna doesn't find out. So they went to one assembly hall, and then Rohini was there and the queens were there, and they put a guard at the door, and that was Subhadra, Krishna's sister. And she was supposed to warn the queens, Rohini, if Krishna is coming, then she would stop. So Rohini's there, and everyone is gathering around Rohini, and she's narrating all of the pastimes of Krishna. And everybody's absorbed. Rohini's absorbed. The queens are absorbed. And Subhadra, although she's the guard, she also starts hearing, and she gets absorbed. And at one time, she starts getting so absorbed, she starts to go into ecstasy, hearing about her transcendental brother. She just loses consciousness. And there's nobody guarding the door. It says that her hands and her arms went into her body in ecstasy, and then that was it. But the queens and Rohini didn't realize Subhadra was no longer working. So they kept narrating. And Balaram, he happened to be drifting in. Oh, my mother is talking. Well, what is she? Oh, she's talking about me and my brother. Oh, so he doesn't want to be noticed, so he gets close, starts listening. Oh, and then he's hearing about the pastimes. And his eyes get big. His arms start going into his body. The legs are gone. Boom. 2 down. And he's out. And nobody's aware of that even Balaram came. And so now Rohini continues, and then Krishna comes. Oh, my mother, because Rohini was the second mother of Krishna. Krishna had 2 mothers, Rohini and Yasoda. Although she was the mother of Balaram, they were so close, their mothers were like the same to each other. And so he's listening, and he's here, oh, they're talking about me. Oh, Vrindavan. Oh. And so he gets interested, and he starts listening. And then you see Jagannath's eyes. If you take darshan of Jagannath, seriously, you can see those eyes are getting bigger. They expand just by your meditation. So he's in ecstasy, listening to his mother, and he collapses. His arms go into his body, his legs are gone, his eyes are beyond his ears. He's unconscious. But they're still narrating. They're not even aware of what happened. So it's described by different acharyas that this particular form of the Lord was manifested at that particular pastime. Although it's an eternal form, it became manifested in this world at that time when Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra were absorbed in hearing, Vrindavan Leela. And so after some time, it became too much for Krishna. He couldn't stay away from Vrindavan. So a plan was made, and Subhadra said, I'll go first, and I'll notify the residents of Vrindavan when Krishna comes. But then she thinks, if I notify the residents of Vrindavan when Krishna comes, they won't believe me, because he says that he's going to come, but he doesn't come. And Uddhava's there, he's also. And they say, Uddhava, you should go and let the residents of Vrindavan know that Krishna's on his way. And he said, I did that one time, and they got angry at me because Krishna didn't come. So what to do? So now Uddhava doesn't want to volunteer. So finally Subhadra goes anyway. Then Balaram also says, all right, I went for 2 months. I tried to pacify the gopis, but it didn't work. So they want Krishna. So then a parade was set with Balaram leading, Subhadra following, and Jagannath, who was Krishna, leading, and that is the Ratha yatra procession. So this procession that we perform is very intimate pastime of Krishna returning to Vrindavan. So what is the mood of the devotees who are participating in the Ratha yatra? Ecstatic kirtans. And because this encourages Krishna, please come back to Vrindavan. Your devotees are waiting for you. We're so joyful, we're so happy, we're singing your glories. Please come, please come. So it's the mood of bringing Krishna in your heart by having ecstatic kirtans in front of the carts. Like that. We pull the ropes. But what are you doing when you're pulling the ropes? You're pulling the Lord into your heart. And that's the mood, bringing Krishna back to... Because Vrindavan is synonymous with one's heart. So as we're pulling, we're actually saying, my dear Lord, please sit into my heart. Purify my heart and give me your special presence. So that's the mood of the... And I remember in 2001 we were in Jagannath Puri. How many of you have been to Puri Ratha yatra during the time? Not so many, maybe about a dozen. Yeah. So we were there in 2001. We were there with 4,000 devotees with Jagannath Swami and his whole yatra. And it was a rainy one. We were chanting and dancing in front of the cart. And the whole ceremony of bringing the deities onto the cart is really, really amazing to watch. They usually start taking the deities out of the temple around 8 in the morning, and about 1 o'clock in the afternoon they're on the cart. It takes that long. Because they have to, Jagannath is like this. They put that headdress on and he's bobbing back and forth like that. Because he's anticipating the ecstasy of going back to Vrindavan, so he's in ecstasy. We asked the pujaris, how do you do that? They said, we don't do that, he does it. We just try to hold him still, but it's difficult. So the first one that comes out, of course, is Balaram. And then there is fire twirlers, there are people playing kartals, 100 people playing drums, 100 people playing, not kartals, but wampers. And there's fire twirlers. They have these long sticks with cotton on both ends, and they light it up and they turn it, and they spin it up in the air and they catch it. There was one girl, she had been doing it all her life. She was only 14. She could spin it and roll on the ground at the same time while she was spinning it over her head. It was amazing to watch. So this is all for the pleasure of Lord Jagannath, to give him, like they're entertaining Jagannath like that. And then they're doing the drums. Do-doom, 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 do-doom. It sounds like that, something like that. And then they just keep playing. And they all play together, not like our kirtan. They all play together. There's 100 of them beating on the drums the same way. They're all playing the kartals the same way, and everything is synchronized. It's all for the pleasure of Jagannath. So we were there, and then they have this, what is called cordon. And the police kind of circle around the carts, so people can't get in, so they can bring the deities on. And you have to have a special pass to be inside there. So we had a special pass. You have to apply for it. So we're inside, and now Baladev's on the cart, Subhadra's on the cart, and now Jagannath. And it's already a few hours into the procedure already. Now they bring out Jagannath. So they get him to the base of the cart, and then there's this long plank with these logs that are like stairs. And they have to and the deity is big. He is like 2 meters high and 1 meter wide. Heavy. So there's about 20 of these pujaris. And they got ropes, and they're trying to carry him. So they get him to the base of the cart, and now they get him up. And I was standing next to the cart, along with Jagannath Swami. We're sitting on people's shoulders because it was high. And so they're trying to move Jagannath up, and he won't go. He's not going to go. So they're struggling and straining and pulling, and this is all being announced. There's an announcer there, and he's speaking in Oriyan, the local language, but it's also being broadcast in many languages as the and they're giving the account of what's happening. So this person is giving the narration. And so we're watching, and Jagannath's not going. So they get him up a little bit, and then he comes back down. And they're struggling and straining, and again, and he goes back down again. So, and the announcer, he's watching all this, and at one point he jumps in. The announcer, we found out later, he said, "Jagannath, get on your cart. Your devotees are waiting. Get on the cart." And then Jagannath laid down. He went flat. And then he said, "Jagannath, no time to sleep. Get up. Your devotees are waiting. Get on your cart." And all of a sudden, I saw this. The deity went, choo. He just sat up straight and went right up effortlessly. He just changed his mind. He said, "All right, I guess they're waiting for me." So we think we're carrying, we're doing it, but actually he's conducting the whole thing. It's like that. So we finally got on the cart, and now the deities are there. The king of Puri comes out. He sweeps in front of the cart, and there's ceremonies, and now it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and kirtans are going on, and there's a kirtan in front of the carts are now in line. Balaram goes first, and then Subhadra follows, and then Jagannath is the last cart, because they're leading Jagannath back. And so we were on Jagannath when we were having kirtan. But later on we found out that Balaram decided to do his own thing. So there's police there. There's two kinds of police. There's the local police and the special police. So they're all together trying to organize and get these ropes, and they're pulling the carts. And there's no steering on the carts, and there's no brakes. Everything is done by ropes. So, and on the cart, there's about 100 devotees. So they're pulling the cart and pulling the cart, and he's first. So Balaram decided to do his own thing. So he decided to go over towards the side instead of staying in the middle road part. And he's going this way, and then the police are getting a little excited, telling the crowd in a very emotional way, "Pull back this way, pull back." And Balaram just keeps going over, and he's going over. Nobody can stop him. And finally, he goes up against an electrical pole and stops. Can't go any farther. Now what do you do? The people on the cart are not going to get off, that's for sure. And there's no steering, there's no brakes. You can't push it. So they call the municipal man with the shovels. One guy starts climbing up the electrical pole. He unhooks the wires. And they dig the pole out of the ground. Try to do that in Atlanta, see what happens. Devotees what's the bail? How much is the... Anyway, that's another story. But, Balaram, he's there. And now they free the cart. The pole is out of the way. Finally, they pull it back. Balaram starts to cooperate. And it's going on, going on, going on. Now we're on Jagannath's cart, so we heard about this later. So Balaram decides to do it again. This time when he gets closer to the Gundicha temple, which is actually the goal. And he goes off to the side. And on the sides they have all of these like little shops that are like makeshift shops. They put wood, tin, and different kinds of cardboard, and they make a shop, and then they put their wares there and people buy. So Balaram, he's he's like going up, and he goes right against this guy's shop. Stops. What to do? So they told him, we have to take your shop down. So they did. And he was so happy. He was thinking, I get to offer my shop to Balaram. He was like thinking, this is the best day of my life. He was really happy. And finally now Balaram comes. And now the program is when the sun goes down, the carts stop, wherever it is. Usually, most of the time, most of the years, they make it in one go. But sometimes, and this year, it only went halfway. So they stop the carts in the middle, and then everything stops, and then overnight they have pujas and different kinds of rituals, and devotees come. It's all night. And then the next day at sunrise, the carts continue. So the second day, of course, half the people leave. The first day, there's about 1.5 million people. The second day, there's about 1 million. It's kind of like, not so many. So anyway, he's there, and now when they get to the final part, the second day, they line up right in front of Gundicha temple. Gundicha represents Vrindavan, and Jagannath temple represents Dwarka. So Krishna, Jagannath, is traveling from Dwarka to Vrindavan, led by his devotees. So before he goes in, there's an anticipation and there's a ceremony. The carts line up, and then devotees get to go on the carts. They offer arti, and the pujaris collect money, and so it's a whole thing. It goes on for hours, and it usually starts when the carts arrive, which is usually late in the afternoon, and then after a couple hours, then there's more ceremonies. The king comes, there's pujas, and then finally they start taking the deities off. And so one by one, they take the deities off, and Balaram, he's like this, he's like shaking back and forth. And so they finally bring Balaram in. Now Subhadra, she's Mataji. She can't dance in public, it's not nice. So she goes in very nicely, very easily. And then it's time for Jagannath. And we were sitting on somebody's house. It was a big, big house, and way on the top, we were hanging on the wall of the house and watching this whole thing. And we were watching it from the top down. You could see everything. It was so beautiful. And then finally, they take Jagannath, and then he's also like this. And it's like he can't hold himself still. He's in so much ecstasy. The Lord is in his mood of anticipating coming back to his loving devotees. And finally, he goes in. So and then he stays there for a week. And then there's the return Ratha yatra after 1 week. And there's many ceremonies for that also. So that was in 2001. In 2006, we did it again. And again with the devotees. In 2006, it was a lot different. The weather was so hot. It was about 50 degrees. It was so hot, Celsius, 50 degrees Celsius. That's like close to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. It was so hot. So we were dancing in front of the carts. Indradyumna Maharaj was there. Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj was there. Devamrit Swami was there. And many, many senior devotees, Prabhupada disciples and others were there. And Indradyumna Maharaj, he kept telling the devotees, pour a bottle of water over my head, because it was so hot. So they would take a whole liter of water and pour it on him, and then within 5 minutes he was completely dry. So there's a picture of me pouring water on his head. I don't know if you want to see that or not, but it's like, for me, it was the happy part of my program. So yeah, it was so hot, and then actually we were dancing and dancing and dancing, and then in order to keep the crowds away, we had 3 circles of devotees holding arms, extending out 3 circles. The people were trying to crash through, and it was so hot. Oh, it was so hot. But still, we were dancing. Somehow or other, we made it. I almost died. I mean, you ever heard of the term blackout? Has anybody ever blacked out? I finally understood what blackout meant. I was dancing and I saw this big black cloud coming into my mind. I said, Krishna. And then it went back. It happened 3 times. It was so hot. It was just like, but we didn't stop dancing. We just kept hydrating as much as we could and just dancing. So that's the mood. So that was nice. Sachinandana Maharaj was also there that year. And that was 2006. So yeah, it's a wonderful, very intimate festival of glorifying the Lord in His deep desire to come back to His loving devotees in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So we should be very enthusiastic to sing, to dance, and to take part in this kirtan program. Of course, pulling the ropes too also. If you pull the ropes, then it says you won't take birth again in this material world. I mean, you'll take birth, but you'll take birth in a very good family if you have to take birth again. In other words, in a Vaishnava family. It's so auspicious just to see Jagannath on the cart. And Jagannath is so merciful. He gives the opportunity to the conditioned souls who don't come to the temple, who are absorbed in trying to become happy through the material energy. He gives them a chance to get some mercy. If they simply see Him, they simply get some sukriti, they get some benefit. Like that, so He's very merciful. So this is Jagannath Ratha yatra. I was suggested that I speak about this also, if you don't mind. Can I speak another 5 minutes or so? Of course, I don't want to interfere with the schedule, but on 26th of September is Bhadra Purnima. And that's the time when we distribute as many Bhagavatam sets as possible. But we're not waiting for that day. It's being done now. Devotees are leading the world and going around different places and putting Bhagavatam sets in different places, selling them on the streets, and going to different places and trying to encourage people to purchase a set. So it says that, of course, if you purchase a set of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's like having Sri Krishna personally present in your home. Why? Because, as explains in the Bhagavatam, that when Krishna left the planet, the question comes, now that Krishna has left the planet, where will we find religious principles? And that's mentioned in the 3rd chapter, the 1st canto of Bhagavatam. Krishna has now manifested Himself in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So to have a Srimad Bhagavatam set in your home is to have Krishna incarnate in literary form in your own home. In other words, your home becomes a mandir. So we want to encourage as many devotees as they can to buy a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, Bhagavatam is the best of all. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur would say, if all the books in the world were drowned in the ocean and only Bhagavatam was left, there'd be no loss. Prabhupada glorifies Bhagavatam by saying everything you want to know about any subject you can find in Srimad Bhagavatam, both secular and spiritual. Everything is there. Everything is connected to Krishna, but ultimately even in mundane topics are connected to Krishna. Sociology, politics, architecture, whatever the subject matters are, you can be, yeah. So before I end, how many of you here don't have a set of Bhagavatams in your house? Okay, no Bhagavatam, no Bhagavatam. The only 3? That's all. Everybody else has a set? Okay. All right, so I have 2 requests. Those who don't have a set, buy a set now. say, I will buy a set on the request of Candramauli Swami's class. And we have, where's Champakalata? She's here? She's on the way? Okay. But Champakalata Saki, she's a member of this congregation. So if you want to buy a set, then you see her, and she can give her whatever's the price, and she will arrange for you to get the set. Now, for those who have a set, our movement is Paropaka. Srila Prabhupada said Paropaka. Paropaka means to do good to others, to make someone who's unfortunate fortunate. Oop, here we go. So those who have a Bhagavatam set, sponsor a Bhagavatam set and buy it for one of your friends or family members or someone that you would like to gift. Okay, and so you can see Champakalata when she comes, and then arrange for sets. And this year our goal is 108,000 Srimad Bhagavatam sets for the whole year. Yeah. So help make that goal, and then Krishna will be very pleased, and you'll also be benefited by having given or having read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Madan Mohan ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai, Jagannath Shri Gordatai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Radha Madan Mohan
Shri Radhe. Where's the Bengali singer? Huh? From the kitchen. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me, hurry up. Get that going. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Shri Radhe. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Um, Looks like I think we all heard Maharaja's class, right? So first of all, I'd like to um, pay my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to all the Vaishnavas here. So we heard Guru Maharaj's class, the glories of how a Rath Yatra, the whole procession of Rath Yatra, how Jagannath, Baldev, Subramaya actually traveled from Dwarka to Vrindavan, of course, from the temple to Gundicha temple. It was a very nice pastime Maharaj has explained, ecstatic actually. The description and the way he narrated was really nice. So if anybody would like to share any thoughts or if you have any realizations, we could discuss, or we could reconvene tomorrow for tomorrow's class. Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I can't hear you, Prabhuji.
You hear me now?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Guru Maharaj's description of Jagannath Puri is incredibly amazing.
Yeah.
And for those who have not read it yet, his travel diary contains a very detailed minute by minute, second by second account, very descriptive account of the whole pastime. And it's so captivating and it's so elevating. You feel like you're actually there experiencing everything with him. So anybody who hasn't read it yet or hasn't got that travel diary, they should buy one and read it. It's the best.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhuji. I wasn't aware. Yeah, his description was really, really wonderful. Takes you back, right? And keeps you in that particular situation where you would really have that darshan while having experiencing all of that ecstasy. Even Maharaj and all the devotees have experienced. It's really nice. Thank you for sharing, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so we'll end the call here. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you all tomorrow. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शीला प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.